Applying the nail extension tips. Apply a thin line of nail glue onto the well of the tip. Tap the tip sharply to remove any excess glue. Hold the tip at an angle to the nail plate, then bring the tip up to the free edge. Tilt and slide the nail tip onto the nail plate so that the natural free edge sits snugly against the stop point of the tip. Press and hold the tip in position for about 5 seconds or until an airtight bond occurs. Wipe with a cotton bud if any glue seeps out. Ensure the bonded area beneath the nail extension is sealed and contains no gaps. This will prevent the trapping of water and dirt. Apply all 5 tips in this manner, then clip and file the nail to the required length. If you are not used to having long nails, cut the tips to a sensible length, as knocking and banging the nails will weaken them. If your tips have been pre-blended correctly, you can conceal the seam by simply buffing over lightly with the white sanding block until the seam is barely visible. Wipe away any dust. Some people prefer to use a tip blender or a cotton bud dipped into acetone. Some people prefer to use a tip blender or a cotton bud dipped in acetone. Rub vigorously over the seam, then buff with the white block until the seam is barely visible. It is important to note that if you do this, you must wash your hands thoroughly to remove any trace of tip blender or acetone before applying resin. Neaten the sides of each nail extension using the file so they are straight. Remove any wings, but do not over-file. Brush a layer of resin over the entire nail surface, leaving a 1 mm gap from the cuticle. Wait 20 to 30 seconds. Brush a second layer of resin over the nail surface. Bend the finger at the knuckle and dip into the powder, pushing the nail through the powder to ensure a thorough, even coating. Tap the nail to remove any excess powder. Use a cotton bud or tissue to wipe away any powder on the nail bed. Brush another layer of resin over the nail. Ensure the entire surface is covered. It is important to wipe the brush very well on a paper towel before returning to the resin bottle. Spray activator over the surface and sides. Wait 30 seconds and tap with the hoof stick to check they are hard. If not, spray with more activator and wait for a further 30 seconds. File the seams and sides using the grit file. This helps avoid the hardened acrylic lifting at the back and sides of the nail. Buff over each nail with the white sanding block to smooth and use the 3-stage buffing files to create a natural finish. Apply a layer of 2-in-1 top coat to seal the nails and give a glossy finish. Infills. As the natural nail grows, it is necessary for you to infill the gap which appears between the cuticle and the acrylic overlay. The overlay may also begin to lift. Wash hands and nails thoroughly and push back the cuticles. File around the seams of acrylic nail using the grit file, paying attention to remove all loose or lifted areas of overlay. File over the whole area to thin out the previous acrylic overlay. Infilling is usually required about 2 weeks after your first application and every 2 to 3 weeks thereafter. Buff over with the sanding block and brush away any dust. Brush a layer of resin over the entire nail surface. Wait 10 seconds. Brush a second layer of resin over the entire nail surface. Dip the nail into the acrylic powder as before, making sure to coat the entire surface, including the sides. Tap the nail to remove excess powder. Brush another layer of resin over the nail. Ensure the entire surface is covered. Wipe the brush on a paper towel before returning to the resin bottle. Spray activator over all the treated nails, covering the surface and sides. Finish as before by filing the sides and seams, buffing over the whole nail and applying top coat.